Procedure 2, fill a puree with solution P, pipette 25 centimeters cube of solution R into a conical flask, and titrate with solution P, and titrate the solution P against solution R until a permanent pink color just appears. Record your results in table 2 below and repeat the procedure to fill the table. So I want to give us the value. Let us use 12.9. Our initial is 0.0. That's 12.9. Our initial is 0.0, 12.8. And here it is 12.8, 0.0, 12.9, 12.7. So determine the average of P used. So you get the average 12.9 plus 12.8 plus 12.7 divided by 3. You get 12.8 centimeters cube, and that is the average. Calculate the concentration of solution R in moles per liter. Moles per liter means molarity. Molarity is the number of moles in 1 liter. Therefore, when you are asked to calculate the concentration of a solution in moles per liter, they are simply asking you to calculate molarity. And I have always given you this formula on how to calculate molarity. How do you get molarity? Molarity, that is mass in grams per liter, RFM. So if you have RFM, you have mass in grams per liter, you can calculate molarity simply. So let us go back to what we are provided with and check what was the information provided for R. That R was made or prepared by dissolving 4.9 grams in 250. So the solution is 250, meaning that this is not 1 liter. So we must now calculate the mass in grams per liter, right? So we are going to say 4.9 is in 250. What about 1,000? Now we will get mass in grams per liter in order to use the formula I have given. So let us get mass in grams per liter. We are going to say that 4.9 grams are in 250 centimeters cube. For me to get grams in 1 liter, I will ask 1,000 centimeters cube would contain what mass? 1,000 times 4.9 divided by 250 will give me 19. Will give us 19.6 grams per liter. Now we have this. The next thing that we should have is the RFM of R. R is the iron 2 sulfate. Remember, R is this salt, NH4 2S4 FeS4.6 waters. So the formula already is provided here. Remember, R is here, this is R, and this is the salt, ammonium iron 2 sulfate. So this is what I've just copied. So we have iron is 56, sulfur is 32, oxygen is 16. So you only need to substitute the numbers inside here, and you will find that the RFM of this salt is equal to 392. That is the RFM. Now from the formula, we know that molarity equal to mass in grams per liter divided by RFM. That is, molarity is equal to, you already this one constant, mass in grams per liter over RFM, and this one is 19.6 divided by 392, and this one gives us 0.05 capital M, standing for molarity. Now we have the molarity of R. Let us go to find the number of moles of solution R used. What was the volume of R used? You go back to the procedure. Fill the puree with solution P. Pipette 25 of solution R. So we have used 25 centimeters cube of solution what? R. But now we know the number of moles in 1000 in 1 liter. This molarity is the number of moles in a liter. So we have that 1000 centimeters cube of solution R as this moles, 0.05 moles. The volume used R used is 25, so we will ask 25 centimeters cube of solution R used will contain how many moles? Now that one is 25 times 0.05. You divide by 1000, and this one gives us 0.00125 moles, right? Next question. Given the ionic equation for this reaction will always be given the ionic equation, so you don't need to worry about that. You will always be given the ionic equation. We will always be given the ionic equation. So we have been given the ionic equation of the reaction that took place. But remember, what is R? R was the ammonium ion 2 suffix. So this one represents R. This one represents P. What was the volume of this used? 25. What was the volume of this used? 12.8. It is important to note that. Now we have the number of moles of the ion R. We have the number of moles of the ion. We find the number of moles of solution P, which is this. Number of moles of solution, we are going to use the relationship of the mole ratio. Here, the ion is 5, and this is so. If I use R to P, R is 5, and P is 1. The ratio is 5 to 1. But we have the number of moles of R, which is 0.00125. This number of moles, this number of moles of R. So we will ask, if 5 is equal to this, what about 1? If 5 equal to 0.00125, 1 will contain what? So that is 1 times 0.00125 divided by 5. And this one will give us the number of moles of P, 0.00025 moles. So this is the number of moles in P, the volume that was used. What was the volume of P? You go back, determine the average volume of P, and that is 12.8 centimeters cube. That is the volume of P. Determine the concentration of potassium manganate 7 solution P in moles per liter. Concentration in moles per liter. Kindly always remember, when you are asked concentration in moles per liter, simply that one is molarity. Always remember that. So we want to calculate molarity, and remember, what is molarity? Moles in 1000 centimeters cube. 1000 centimeters cube equal to 1 liter per liter, right? But from the previous, we have the number of moles of P. We have the number of moles of P in the volume that was used, 12.8 centimeters cube. So these moles are in 12.8 centimeters cube. So we will ask 1000, which is 1 liter, will contain how many moles? So we know that 12.8 centimeters cube of solution P contains 0.00025 moles. Because moles, molarity is in 1000, we will ask, what about 1000 centimeters cube solution P will contain how many moles? Right? So this one will give us 1000 times 0.0025. You divide by 12.8, and this one will give us 0.01953 capital M, and that is the molarity of solution P. Qualitative analysis. I want to give you observation and inferences very quickly. You are provided with solid P. Carry out the test below and record your observations and inferences in the table below. Place a half of a spatula full of solid P in a clean dry test tube and heat gently then strongly. What will be observed? A colorless gas condenses on the cooler parts of the test tube, forming a colorless solution or liquid, colorless liquid. A colorless liquid. So a colorless gas is produced, which condense and form a liquid. So if it forms a liquid, it tells you that that salt P contains water of crystallization. So you can simply say that B, it is hydrated salt present. Or you can say that B contains water, that is or. You can use this or this. B contains water of crystallization. Contains water of crystallization. Place the remaining P in a pouring tube. Add 5 centimeters of distilled water. Shake. Divide the solution into 4 portions to the first portion. So divide the solution into 4 portions. Now here, this one is supposed to tell us whether the solid was soluble in water or not. The solid dissolves in water, in distilled water, forming a colorless solution. So it simply means that solid B is a soluble salt. That's what it means in simple terms. In some more complicated terms, you can say, because this solution is a colorless solution, it means the colored ions are not there. And what are the colored ions? It means that copper 2, which is blue, it means copper ion 2, which is green, and ion 3, which is brown, are absent. So these ones are absent. If you don't understand this, use this one, that if it dissolves to form a colorless solution, it means the salt is soluble. You say a soluble salt present. To the first portion, add sodium hydroxide dropwise until in excess. Sodium hydroxide dropwise until in excess. White PPT is formed. A white PPT is formed, which dissolves in excess, forming a colorless solution. I want to remind you here that we need to make observation first. When you put 2 drops, a white precipitate is formed, and then tell us what happens when you put the sodium hydroxide in excess. Did the white precipitate dissolve to form a colorless solution, or it did not? So if it dissolves to form a colorless solution and you are adding sodium hydroxide, then it means this is present. What is that? ZAP. ZAP stands for zinc ions, aluminum ions, and lead ions. Remember, these are amphoteric they form amphoteric oxides, or we call them amphoteric ions, right? So it means that the zinc, aluminium, lead are present. To the second portion, add 2 drops of dilute sulfuric acid. If we are adding sulfuric acid, remember sulfuric acid is this. It contains the sulfate inside. So if we are adding the sulfate, let us see the observation. A white PPT is formed, or no white PPT is formed. What if a white PPT is formed? If a white PPT is formed, it means inside there could be barium 2 ions, calcium 2 ions, and lead. If a white PPT is formed, right? If no white PPT is formed, it means none of them is present, right? None of them is present. So let me give the observation. The observation here is no white PPT is formed. We are adding sulfuric acid, which forms a white precipitate with barium, calcium, and this one. So we are supposed to write barium 2 positive, calcium 2 positive, and lead 2 positive absent, right? But in our previous, we didn't have any of these ions. Yes, of those they are absent, and that is correct. So they are not there, right? But what was there? Here we said that red is present, but here we have confirmed it is absent. This one is correct. You can write all of them and write all of them are what? Absent. It is accepted. But we don't want, suppose this one are absent, then what could be present? Lead is not present. It's absent. It means that zinc 2 ions, aluminium 3 ions are present. I want to discourage giving absent negative answers, because they usually sometimes are advised to reject negative answers. Therefore, let us write what is there. If these are not there and we add 3 of them, this one is absent, it means these and these are present. Thank you. To the third portion, add ammonia solution. Ammonia solution is usually written ammonia hydroxide. So this is what you will find written in that small capoto. So observation is that white PPT is formed, which is soluble in excess. So it forms a white precipitate drops. When you add in excess, it dissolves to form a colorless solution. Therefore, it means zinc ions are present. It means zinc ions are present. To the fourth portion, add 2 to 3 drops of barium nitrate solution. So we are adding barium. Barium forms white precipitate with sulfate, carbonate, and sulfite. So what was white PPT is formed. So if a white PPT is formed, it means the sulfate, the sulfite, and the carbonate are present, right? Thank you. Allow me take you through this question. You are provided with solution J Solution J is ammonium iron 2 sulfate solution, and this is the formula. Solution K is 0.2 molar potassium manganate 7 solution. You are required to determine the molarity of ammonium iron 2 sulfate, the amount of water of crystallization N in ammonium iron 2 sulfate, the formula mass of ammonium iron 2 sulfate. The procedure: the ammonium iron 2 sulfate solution provided was made by dissolving 8.5 grams of the salt in 50 centimeters cube of dilute sulfuric acid, and then making the solution to 250 centimeters cube using distilled water. So this is solution J. Fill the burette with solution K, pipette 25 of solution J, and measure and release into a conical flask. Titrate J against K until the solution becomes permanent pink. Repeat 2 more titration times. Repeat more times and complete the table below. Let me give you the value of the table. 22.1, 21.9, 0.0, 0.0, 0.0. This one is 21.9, 22.1, 22.0. Let us go straight and get the average volume. Calculate the average volume of solution K. So this is solution K, and remember solution K is potassium permanganate. So the average is 22 plus 21.9 plus 22.1 divided by 3. This one is going to give us 22 centimeters cube. Calculate the number of moles of solution K reacting. Calculate the number of moles of solution K reacting. Also, you need to understand how to be aware of solution K. So when you forget, you go back. Solution K is 0.2 molar potassium permanganate, meaning that 0.2 is the number of moles in 1 liter. 1 liter equal to 1,000 centimeters cube. So we ask here that 2 molar, 0.02 molar implies that 0.02 is the number of moles contained in 1,000 centimeters cube of solution K. 22, because the volume used is 22 centimeters cube, K will contain how many moles? So it is 22 times 0.02 divided by 1,000, and this one will give us 0.00044 moles. Determine, or given that the equation for the reaction is, this, determine the number of moles of iron 2 salt solution J in 25 centimeters cube of solution used. Now, let us first interpret this here. The permanganate is what we call solution K. The iron is solution J. What is the volume of the iron used? The volume we took 25 centimeters because we pipetted 25 centimeters cube. 25 centimeters reacted with 22. Put K. Now we have the number of moles of K that reacted with J. The number of moles is this one, 0.00044. We can see that the ratio, the mole ratio is 1 to 5. So the manganese or the manganate ion to the ion, the ratio is 1 to 5. But we know the number of moles of this, which is 0.00044. So if 1 is equal to this, 5 will be what? That means it is 0.00044 times 5 divided by 1. So when we give us 0.0022 moles. Determine the morality of solution J. Morality. Like I've always said, what is morality? Morality is the number of moles in 1 liter. Morality is the number of moles of a solution in 1 liter. So J, we know the number of moles of J in 25. This is the number of moles. What will be the number of moles in 1 liter? 25 centimeters cube. Solution J contains 0.0022 moles. 1,000, that is a liter cube. Solution J contains how many moles? That is the number of moles in 1 liter of J. Determine the concentration of solution J in grams per liter. Grams per liter. So J, how was J prepared? So you go back to the procedure and then you realize like this one. The ammonium ion, which is solution J, remember solution J is the ammonium ion, was made by dissolving 8.5 grams in 250 because the total volume distilled water plus this HCl will form plus 200 will form 250 centimeters cube because the volumetric flask of 250 will contain a volume of 250 centimeters cube. So 8.5 grams of the salt was dissolved, making a solution of 250 centimeters cube. We want mass in grams per liter. So concentration in grams per liter. So you ask 250 centimeters cube solution J was prepared by 8.5 grams of the salt, and then 1,000 because a liter is 1,000 centimeters cube. J will contain how many moles? 1,000 times 8.5 divided by 250. This one will give you 34 grams per liter. Next question. From the result in 3 above, 3C, this is C Roman 3 above, determine, this question is misplaced, the formula mass, which is the RFM, so it is supposed to be here. Determine the RFM of the ion 2 salt, ion 2 salt, hence calculate the value of N in the formula, this formula. So first we calculate the RFM. this question is just misplaced here. It was supposed to come before this one. So let us see how to calculate RFM. There is always this triangle I will always give you. Morality, RFM, mass in grams per liter. So once you have mass in grams per liter of a substance, you have the molarity of that substance, you will get the RFM very easy. So RFM is equal to mass in grams per liter divided by molarity. We are talking about the iron 2 salt. We have, which is solution J. We have the mass in grams per liter, which is equal to 34 divided by molarity. We have calculated the molarity of the solution, which is on in Roman 2. We have calculated the molarity of the solution, which is 0.08 am. So 3.4 divided by 0.088, which is the molarity of the solution J. This one, using your calculator, you will get it is 386.4. So that is the RFM. But we know that the RFM is this formula. When you add each mass of each element, the mass of each element here, you will get this. So it means that ammonium, this ion, when you add everything here, you will get this 386.4. But we have been given N for nitrogen is 14. We have all the atomic mass of each element here. So this one is 14 times 2 plus hydrogen is 4 times 2 because hydrogen is 1, 8. Sulfur is 32 plus 16 times 4 is 64 plus iron is 56. Sulfur is 32. This one is 64. That is 16 times 4 plus, because this dot is a separation. Water is 16 plus 2, which is 18. 18 times this, it is 18N, which is equal to 386.4. Add everything here, you will get 284 plus 18N equal to 386.4. Like terms together, 18N is equal to, you subtract this here, is equal to 102.4. You divide by 18, you find that N is equal to 5.688, which is equivalent to 6. So that is the value of N in this salt. Determine the correct formula for the ion. So the formula, we are going to replace N with the 6. Like that. Let me take you through number 2. You are provided with solid Y and Z to carry out the tests below. Write your observations and inferences in the spaces provided. Now here we have two salts. For you to know which solid belong to organic and which solid belong to inorganic, you have to go through the first question A. So you go through and then look at the reagent that I used. For example, here, the first one is a sodium hydroxide. That is the reagent used. You go to Roman 3. Aqueous ammonia. And then Roman 4. Dilute hydrochloric acid. Roman 5. Lead 2 nitrate. Then, now from there, you confirm that the first, when you are using solid Y, this is inorganic, where you are supposed to give the inferences of the cations and the anions only, positively charged and negatively charged. Place our solid Y in a clean test tube, add 10 centimeters cube of distilled water and shake. Divide the solution in A1 above into 4 portions. So we want to see, did the solid Y dissolve? Yes. So the solid dissolve, forming a colorless solution. So if it dissolves to form a colorless solution, it means that the colored ions are absent. But we want to say what is present. What is present is a soluble salt present. A soluble salt present. Soluble salt are so many of them. We have potassium ions, sodium ions, magnesium ions, lead 2 ions, aluminium 3 ions, zinc 2 ions, and so many others, barium. So many of them. These are all. So instead of listing all of these in this idea, you can say a soluble salt present. Initially, when we were learning in school, we used to say copper 2, iron 3, iron 2, absent. But sometimes you realize that when they are marking KCSE, when you write this one absent, of course this one is a blue solution, this is brown, and this is a green solution. Iron 2 is a green solution, or a precipitate. This is it can be a precipitate or a solution. So absent, sometimes they don't mark that. So the correct here, write a soluble salt present. Finish. To the first portion, add sodium hydroxide dropwise until in excess. Observation. White PPT, precipitate is formed, which dissolve in excess. A white precipitate is formed, which dissolve in excess. We are adding a base, sodium hydroxide, and then it dissolves. So therefore, you should know what is there is the amphoteric ions. The amphoteric ions, there are 3 of them. The formula I gave you is ZAP. ZAP, Z stands for zinc, A stands for aluminium, and P stands for lead. So these are the amphoteric ions. I know you understand about amphoteric hydroxides and oxides, which is aluminium oxide, zinc oxide, and lead oxide. They are amphoteric. So you write here the zinc, the lead, aluminium 3 present. The second portion, add aqueous ammonia dropwise until in excess. White precipitate is formed. That is for dropwise. What happens in excess? The white precipitate does not dissolve in excess. So a white precipitate is formed, which is insoluble in excess. So a white precipitate is formed which is insoluble in excess. It means, remember, zinc zinc 2 ions. When we add ammonia droplets and then in excess zinc ions, if the zinc ions is present, it will dissolve, the white precipitate will dissolve to form a colorless solution. But now this one is not forming a colorless solution. The white precipitate persists. Therefore, it means that the zinc 2 ions is absent. The zinc ions is absent. But if the zinc ions is absent, what will be present? We had 3 of them: aluminium, zinc, and lead. Therefore, zinc is not there. It means that lead and aluminium are present because this one is absent. I want to avoid the negative answers. You write, instead of writing this one absent, write what is present. To the third portion, add 5 drops of dilute hydrochloric acid. Whenever you are adding any acid into a solution that you are testing, observation number 1 is you expect a precipitate. Observation number 2, you expect effervescence. So you need to give both observations. So observation number 1, effervescence occurs or it does not. In this case, effervescence occurred. So effervescence occur. So if effervescence occurs, it means this acid went into that solution in the test tube, met a carbonate, met a sulfite, and they produced the respective gases. So it means that the sulfite and the carbonate are present. Another observation you are expecting is that HCl, the chloride HCl, the chloride here could enter there. It will form a white precipitate with silver and lead. But initially we didn't have silver, so we eliminated that. So did it form a white precipitate? That means lead could be inside. Now that's what we want to see. It depends on the observation. What is the observation? No white PPT. No white PPT. So if there is no white PPT, it means that lead ions were not inside. Otherwise, if the lead ions were inside that solution, could combine with chloride to form lead chloride. And lead chloride is a white precipitate. But now we don't have no white PPT. Therefore, lead ions is absent. So if lead ions is absent, what is present? Aluminium. But if you forget, you can write red 2 ions absent. They can sympathize and mark for you. But let us always write what is present. To the fourth portion, add 3 drops of lead 2 nitrate. Then a white precipitate is formed. White PPT formed. We are adding lead. Lead will form a white precipitate. Lead will form a white precipitate with the sulfate, the sulfite, the carbonate, and the chloride ion. So all of this is present. Scoop nitrosolidizate on a metallic spatula and heat it over a Bunsen frame. Observation. So this one is organic. How do you know it is organic? You read it through and then you see you have acidified potassium permanganate, you have indicator, you have sodium carbonate. You are heating, then it burns with a blue sooty, yellow sooty, and sooty. So you will be able to know that this one is organic. It is important to know the reason why you are supposed to know in organic chemistry, when the solid dissolves to form a colorless solution, we don't write the soluble salt present. We write whether it is polar or non-polar. That's why it is important. You should know that you are doing organic or inorganic. The solid melts and burn with blue non-sooty flame. So that tells you that what is there is a saturated organic compound present. Saturated organic compound. But what if you have forgotten the word saturated organic compound? You know the examples of a saturated organic compound. We have the alkanes and the alcohols. Therefore, if you have forgotten this, you will use or. You will write the functional group of the alkanes or the alcohol present. This one is very perfect. You write that one, be sure of the marks. Add the remaining solid to 10 centimeters of distilled water in a test tube and shake. Divide the solution into 3 portions. Now here we want to know, did the solid Z dissolve? Did it dissolve in water, distilled water? Yes. So the solid dissolve, forming a colorless solution. Here we don't write a soluble salt. We are in organic chemistry, therefore you don't write soluble salt, but you can write soluble organic compound you can get. But you want to know, was this solid polar or non-polar? Therefore, it dissolves in water, it means it is polar. For organic compound. So the first portion, dip a pH indicator paper. The pH equal to 4. The pH equal to 4 or 5. That's a weak acid present. A weak acid present. The second portion, add acidified potassium permanganate and then warm gently. Observation is that the purple acidified potassium permanganate, is decolorized. So decolorized, the color change from purple to colorless. So that confirms that the alcohol is the alcohol which is present. Lastly, to the third portion, add a half spatula of the sodium hydrogen carbonate. Then here we expect effervescence. If there is effervescence, you tell us if there is. So here, no effervescence. No effervescence. If there is no effervescence, it means that the organic acid are not there. So you write the organic acid, the functional group of organic acid is absent.